with a very diverse ecosystem simply because we work with everyone from beginner developers to developers who are experts, who have their own farms, who have their own companies and practices. We try our best to kind of make sure that we understand in depth how each ecosystem is and how it is built. It allows us to understand what comprises of these developers. So we try and profile them according to their skill set, according to the level of exposure they have as developers, all the way until we get to the point where we can actually understand what our role in those ecosystems are and how do we bring beginners to expert developers.
How universities are playing a part in equipping developers. So they're not really giving them what they need, and they're coming out into the industry and they're frustrated. And it's simply because we are not getting the right information to these developers.
When we are looking for talent, we're really not constrained to the typical stuff. Like, you know, like what school you went to, like what grades you got. That really doesn't matter. So it makes talent hunting a whole lot different for us.
A lot of ecosystems are really, we don't know what each of the other ecosystems is doing. So a community could be a JS community in Nairobi, a JS community in Nakuru, don't know what they're doing, right? So efforts are very fragmented, people are doing different things, some are working, some are not working, and they're not sharing those experiences. And that's really hurting the community. So bringing people together and allowing them to begin to think about like how they can form larger communities that are more in tune with one another, allows developers to be not only better equipped but also more exposed.
This is everything from building your own projects from start to finish when you're in uni, to trying to build a startup and, you know, trying to involve more people in your process, because that's where our core values are.
It's clear that so many communities still have a long way to go in regards to figuring out what's really out there and what is current and important to them. So for us, it's more of bringing that into the community as Africa's Talking and helping African developer communities just reach the levels that they ought to be at.
The interesting and exciting thing about these ecosystems is each of them is diverse in its own way, which may seem to be a challenge, but I think it's kind of like a good thing, because what worked somewhere before may not necessarily work in like a newer, fresher ecosystem. So what worked in Uganda will probably not work with Senegal or with like Sierra Leone. And the best thing about this is that developers get to build out these ecosystems on their own. We're not replicating models anymore. That means that every developer in each and every ecosystem can come up with something new, can build something fresh and something innovative.
We ended up coming up with some really cool programs. We ended up doing a lot of events, so that means they don't have weekends. We don't have weekends.
Yeah. What is a weekend again?
What is Saturday?
Okay,
what is Saturday?
we don't have those.
Okay. Yeah, so we spend a lot of time with developers in our free time.
Yeah.
We genuinely believe that developers are the future of Africa.
The core of our dreams for African developers is that scale, the ability to be able to, one, monetize their skill. I think that's one thing that's completely underrated for African developers, is the ability to be able to learn the skills online and then be able to build products that they can actually monetize. You know, right now it's just cool to code, right? But we want to make it possible for developers to learn how to code, build product, and start making money from this skill.
We're the guys who genuinely believe that we can actually help open up Africa for developers, so that a Kenyan developer, a Ugandan developer can write apps for 54 countries and just be able to reach the entire landscape and affect millions, billions of people even through their products. So for us, looking at ourselves as a platform as a service is beyond just the technology aspect of it as a platform, but also as a place for us, a position for us to impact like the entire Africa with this 100 people. And enable developers to do that.
For developers to be able to build world-class stuff, like just the way ET has done so, and getting that exposure actually changes the very negative narrative that has surrounded innovation in Africa. You know, like we want it to be, we're building business solutions for African businesses, not just that, we're trying to combat poaching, or we're trying to combat the very like the basic stereotypes that are attached to Africa, right? But we want to actually have people build this stuff and then get the global exposure and the global recognition for this kind of stuff.
For us, it's just a position where we are like humbled to be building software that allows people to do that. We're already doing so much, but I believe in the next several years there'll be a lot more success stories and people coming out of the woodworks saying like, because of Africa's talking, we were able to reach 1 million people in Namibia, or we were able to do this in Egypt, and that's the story. Those are stories that we are looking to hear and we're looking to create as well.